Most of you have probably heard about the Delphi case. This happened in the state of Indiana back in 2017 and was absolutely touched by the devastation. Two eighth-grade girls, 13 and 14, Libby and Abby, head out for a walk only to never show up to the pickup spot or prearranged by the family. Family contact police after the kids don't show up, and the next day find very devastating news. Police find video of this guy walking across the bridge that same day that the girls were out there. It was quite grainy, but you would have thought that it would have been good enough for such a small town to recognize someone, maybe someone they knew. But here we are 5 years later, police finally make an arrest. Richard Allen, a local. And today he's got a defense attorney, and I want to talk about what his defense attorney had to say. Richard Ricky Allen, he was arrested. He's having to deal with a lot of security protection. We're hearing that he and his family are in danger. So let's first listen a little bit to what the defense attorney come out saying about this case after one of his first hearings.
Absolutely, we want the PCA read. Just like my co-counsel Brad said at the end of the hearing, the prosecutor and the police for the last number of years have been conducting press conferences and asking the public for help. Now we're asking for the public for help. You're going to read that probable cause affidavit online or wherever they get it, and hopefully that's going to ring a bell for somebody to help us out, because he is innocent. He has told us that very emotionally. He has thanked us for our help.
So here you can see it seems that the defense attorneys believe that Ricky absolutely had nothing to do with what happened to these girls that day, that February 13th of 2017. He cried to them. He showed a lot of emotion, a lot of remorse, perhaps. Not with that being mixed with the probable cause, the affidavit that they're reading at this time. They're saying that after 5 years of an investigation, and that's all they have, then it's not enough to really convict him. That's what they're kind of hinting towards. In fact, they're encouraging the judge to release this probable cause affidavit to the public so that they can see it for themselves. While they seem quite confident, we know that the prosecutors had more to say about the case, and that they had a little bit more information than what a lot of people are knowing about at this time. The reason for that is they're saying they have witnesses that they have to protect. Before we get much further, let's listen a little bit more.
And we are anxious for the public to read this. We are anxious for this thing to get going. And we'll see. And when you guys read the PCA, presuming that the judge grants our motion, you will have to question, is this what happens after 5 years of an investigation? Is this what it is? We don't have any other evidence. We don't have any discovery. That's all we have, and we are not impressed.
When you say this would help.
So those are some strong words. We are not impressed, because he will say shortly, we've dealt with several murder cases, and in this case, we feel very confident that there's just not enough there at the moment to persecute Richard Allen or tie him to what happened to the girls that day. Next, he hints why the probable cause being released to the public could help his client.
How would that help?
Well, you never know what person out there might read something, and it might ring a bell. It might cause them to point the finger in the direction of the actual killer. This whole business of the two people being involved, the conjecture from the prosecutor today was new information for us. I've been on this case, folks, for 6 days. So I don't know a whole lot. We have not seen the evidence, and send out.
In the same breath, he admits that he hasn't been on this case long enough to really know anything, yet he's saying, he's not guilty. But believes that the release of the probable cause could also point them a different direction to a different person that might be the actual person that took the lives of these two girls.
The finger in the direction of the actual killer. This whole business of the two people being involved, the conjecture from the prosecutor today was new information for us. I've been on this case, folks, for 6 days, so I don't know a whole lot. We have not seen the evidence, and another person involved. I mean, that's new news. So
that's not reflected in the PCA?
Not the PCA that I read. Not the PCA.
Do you have any information about the potential involvement of Keegan Klein in this case?
I have no information about that.
Why do you think it's important for the public to see this probable cause affidavit?
Again, I think it's important.
So we've heard the name Keegan Klein. We know that he's been arrested, attached to being in possession of child images. Supposedly, he was in contact with one of the girls that day, February 13th of 2017. Though he was not arrested attached to this case, a lot of people believe that he is preparing some sort of deal. Though we don't know where that deal is attached, people are speculating there's a chance it could be something to do with the Delphi case. Let's listen a little bit.
Because somebody might read something, a line about, you're going to see maybe about a vehicle or about a person or about a time frame, and it might ring a bell, something that they hadn't thought of before. And when they read that, then they can contact us as his lawyers. We're getting lots of information from lots of people across the country, especially locally. We don't attack them. Everybody, and we're going to figure out if what they know is helpful.
What, if anything, has your client, Richard Allen, said this has impacted him and or his family?
Obviously, this has impacted Richard and his family tremendously. I mean, his wife is just a wonderful person, and she loves her husband. They've been married for over 30 years. They were basically high school sweethearts.
So here you go. There's a little bit more information on Ricky. You find out that he married his high school sweetheart. He's been with her for years and years. So she would know him a little bit more than most people in their relationships. At least you would think so. According to his attorney, she's actually sticking by her husband's side in this. Let's talk about some other interesting things. For example, the prosecutor. Everything in that PCA is the prosecutor's theory, his ideas, along with the charges in those documents that are being withheld from us right now. The defense attorney is not alone when it comes to not having a full copy of this PCA. The judge doesn't even have it. Another fact in this case is the fact that Indiana laws are different when it comes to bail and murder charges. So therefore, the prosecutors cannot tell the judge or the defense what they have as evidence until the PCA is unsealed. So you would think that they would want to have that PCA out to the public before February 17th, when Ricky's bond or bail hearing approaches. What this tells me, and this is my opinion, is it seems that witnesses are key to the case. What will happen once the witnesses' names are no longer blacked out? Well, you heard what happened to Ricky Allen's family. You got to remember, if this is a small community, somebody's going to know whoever these witnesses are. And it will create a huge problem. And prosecutors want to avoid that problem as much as possible, because my theory anyways is I believe that these witnesses play a huge role in bringing what the court will need to understand Richard Allen's role in this case. I think defense wants to get it released right now because they want to, one, know who these witnesses are, two, to show early on in the case that there's not much to really look at Richard for, why they can. While defense plays that this is flimsy and they don't have much, the sheriff, on the other hand, has been on interviews saying, without blinking his eyes, looking straight into the reporter's eyes. I'm pretty confident in the place we are right now. And it seems that these investigators, they're working on something or possibly working with someone. And he did this to pave his way through the dead end. And this way that he addressed this reporter, how he wasn't going to share any evidence, tells me that he's relying probably most likely on someone for information. He knows which direction it should go, and he's crossing his fingers hoping it continues to go that path. Unlike solid evidence, when you have it, it's there, it doesn't change. When you're working with people, well, that's a different story. So for witnesses that are going to be witnesses for the prosecutor, it's going to take a lot of guts, and I'm very proud of him for doing it. So let's listen in more, a little bit more on this defense. You know, his job is to paint his client in this beautiful picture, and he tries.
They love each other, and she fully supports him, but it is devastating. She's scared. She doesn't want to leave her house. She did leave her house. She, thankfully, is in a little bit better place than she was a month ago, but this is all new to them.
Can you say anything about why investigators are focused on your client?
You guys will read the probable cause affidavit, and you may wonder why they are focused on our client.
So it seems to me he's in a rush to get that out there because there's so little on it to paint a lighter, view, I guess you could say, linking Alan to the girls. You gotta give him credit. It's weird that a defense attorney is the one asking for that to be public. In an article, it says that the prosecutor Leland, if he gets his way, there will be a large group of people barred from speaking publicly about the case. There is also a motion for a gag order, and I don't have that file date for you. So you got the investigators and the prosecutor all working together to keep it tight-lipped. It's continuing to keep it tight-lipped. It's very obvious that this case is very important to them. And considering how many people are following this case, they're doing a very good job. Let's continue listening to the defense.
Whatever is out there is not going to be enough to show that our client did anything here. He's confused. He's bewildered. Rick, you guys all call him Richard. He actually goes by Rick. Rick is bewildered. He's confused. He has no idea why this is going on. How can an innocent man be accused of a crime like this and have their life upended? That's the kind of stuff that we've talked about with him. And the same can be said for his wife. How can an innocent man be charged, accused, and basically convicted in the court of public opinion is what they say. But what I said to him is, there's plenty of people out there that are supporting you, and we're getting a lot of calls from a lot of people that don't believe that Rick is the guy.
Should Judge Frank?
So I'm wondering if this is a tactic by defense to kind of give a message to the witnesses. You might have to do all this for nothing. But hopefully that doesn't work. And claiming that he's being unconvicted by public opinion, which none of us, I know we haven't said too much that I know of about it. We've just talked about what they do know. Many people comparing the photos, the voices of the past, the evidence that we were allowed to know. But it turns out, this is just a defense attorney. That's what he is. That's his job. And this is his final say about what he thinks about his client.
We haven't asked you the fundamental question, and that is, your client's the wrong guy?
Our client's the wrong guy.
So a lot of the questions are toward how the family feels about this guy. I am sure they are asking questions the same as you and I. They don't know much more than anyone else. All they can do is wait for everything to come out, review it, and try to make sense of it. So what do you guys think, based on what we have available to us about this guy? Do you think he's guilty? Do you think they have the wrong guy? Or are you just waiting for more information before you decide? Do you think the public is prosecuting him? And do you think the defense attorney just has one big bluff? So, according to another attorney that's not attached to this case, Jack Crawford, this is what he had to say.
The judge will order the probable cause affidavit partially redacted. That means blacked out. Those parts of the affidavit that contain children's names or addresses or witnesses' addresses. But other than that, I don't think the judge is going to go against the constitutional protection of a public trial.
According to this guy, he doesn't believe that the prosecutor did a very good job at trying to keep these PCA sealed.
The prosecutor has not met his burden of keeping these documents secret.
And this is what he's talking about. So he has to serve the public interest, prevent substantial public harm, prevent prejudicial effect on future court hearings. So he does believe that the judge will have to at least partially release those PCA documents. And we'll talk more about this later on. I was not feeling so well, but I did a quick one here for you. Hope you guys had a fabulous holiday. You know, I love you guys to death. I appreciate all of you very much. We hit 17,000 subscribers and it's staying pretty steady. And I can't describe to you how excited I was to notice that. Good job, guys. You guys are the reason for all this. I can tell you that right now. Don't forget about these faces right here. These girls continue to go on missing with their cases stalled. You guys make a big difference. All you have to do is share. Love you guys. See you guys soon.